Low Carbon Vehicle Expo at Millbrook is the place to be to find out more about environmentally friendly transport. Electric vehicles feature prominently here, but it's hard to keep track of the latest developments. Fortunately, Robert Llewelyn and Johnny Smith from Fully Charged are here to help. So we asked them, what are the biggest innovations in the world of electric cars?
It's complicated because it is a really big topic. That's what we've discovered. So, and what was very apparent early on is it goes way beyond just the cars or the vehicles. It goes into everything else connected to the energy industry, particularly electricity. Yep. So how electricity is generated, how it's now stored, which we weren't able to do even a few years ago, and then how the vehicles integrate into that system. And that's been the thing that's grown much faster than anyone. No one even thought about it 10 years ago, didn't even think about it. But, there's numerous examples of, for example, vehicle-to-grid systems. So you drive back home, you plug your car in at home, but it can also run your house. So you can run your house off your car, and then the car charges at night when electrity is cheap and you're not using electricity when it's expensive and dirty. So there's loads of new stuff coming. Some clever stuff, yeah. So that is, then apart from that, there are enormous leaps taking place, not only in battery energy density, but also in the way the electricity is managed. The batteries are managed. Those systems are really, that's computing. It's very much down to software and how the energy is used. So there are cars now that go much further on the same number of kilowatt hours than they did even 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. So that stuff's changing.
Battery density and the ability to rapid charge more rapidly. Because obviously there's levels of rapid charging, and that's the thing that puts a lot of people off electric cars, is not being able to charge them as quickly as they want. Yeah. And then I suppose you've got motorsport. Formula E has paved the way for a lot of acceptance in EV-related motorsport, but also pulling in mainstream manufacturers. As soon as you started getting people like Virgin and Jaguar, what are the other names in Formula E? I mean, a lot of people transcending from Formula One when they realised it was quite boring and that Bernie was controlling too much of the game. Yeah. Sorry to say, they've migrated across. I was only chatting to someone who invested in it last week.
But we've also seen the early stages of like saloon car racing, electric saloon car racing. The GTE stuff is, and they will be phenomenally fast. They're not going to be slow cars. They're going to be terrifyingly quick.
Yeah, and I suppose it's wheel-to-wheel racing, which, as long as there's a bit of panel damage, people will enjoy it.
We love a bit of panel damage. And what's the thing that we got very excited about? Not the rallycross.
Oh, rallycross.
Rallycross. There's the electric rallycross coming in 2021, I think. So that's.
What's the next big thing? That's a really big question.
I mean, I think it's going to be it's basically going to be the numbers, and it's going to be how rapidly. So what we've seen in the last, say, 2 years is a really noticeable global ramp up of electric vehicles. So I think it's buses and trucks are going to be. There's going to be more electric buses and trucks around sooner than cars. Yeah. I think private cars are going to take longer, but it'll still happen. But there are now huge bus fleets of tens of thousands of buses in China, for instance. There's cities in China that have no diesel buses at all, and really big public transport systems. And then we're talking 20,000 electric buses, not 2 or 3. So
shorter journey, urban-centric commercial vehicles is the thing I think I want. Like Royal Mail. All of the postal service things, UPS is just next to us there. All those people, if they were all of those stop-start short journeys that happen day in, day out, because we're ordering more stuff online, there's more parcels being circulated. Those are the things for me, I think. Yeah. Once that's fully electric, I think you're removing a huge amount of carbon out of the system. But, like you say, passenger cars, sales keep building, manufacturers are being forced to build them, so there's good inter-manufacturer competition going on. You've got the I-Pace over there, you've got the Kona, which we've just been talking about. The prices of those vehicles is coming down. The Kona is actually, for the range, is incredibly cheap. Yeah. And every question I always get asked is, I like it, I like the principle of it, I've been in one, I quite like it, I just want it to go a bit further on one charge. Okay, well, the Kona answers that question.
200 to 250, 300 miles, far enough. I think the other thing is, by this time, in 2 years' time, so 2020, there will be over 120 different electric vehicles commercially available on the market. Now there's probably 30, 20 or 30. So there's a huge amount just about to get launched. So we're just pre that. And that ranges from very cheap to eye-wateringly expensive.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a very much across the range, and loads of different sizes. So small SUVs, small town cars. The Honda you saw was brilliant, and
that's coming out next year.
That's coming out next year. So a lot of them will come out next year. So I think that change, we'll see the choice, the range, you know, the increased range, that easier to charge them because there'll be more public charges, but the understanding as well that only 60% of the British population, British households, I like saying it this way, only 60% could have an electric car today because they can charge it at home. 40% of people live in places where, you know, there's on-street parking, and that is much more of a challenge. But even that is being addressed slowly, where you can, you know, there's going to be rapid charges in city centres. So even if you've got nowhere to charge on the street, a lamppost, there's a lamppost.
Lamppost charges.
A lamppost all over London now, which have got sockets in, you can plug in and charge the car, and very simple to use. I mean, really easy to use. So, you know, there's a lot of challenges without any question, and you know, there's a lot of the big thing at the moment that we're very aware of is there's far more demand than there is supply. There's loads more people want an electric car but are having to wait.
There is. There's waiting lists on almost all the new
virtually
cars.
Every car that is available, and the manufacturers, I think it's terrible, but the manufacturers think it's great because they now know it's worth making them. So it's a really, you know, so they are making
it sends the right message to people. And don't forget, the cars we're seeing on sale today have been in R&D for 2 years, 3 years.
Sometimes more, yeah.
And so, you know, like in a month's time from now, or less than a month, we're going to be at Paris Motor Show. The stuff that gets unveiled there will be on sale in 2 years. Yeah. So these people are all having to invest in EV or plug-in of some derivative.
Yeah.
So it ain't going anywhere. The people that say it's a fad, it's clearly not a fad.
No, it's not a fad.
It can't be a fad because all of these blue chip brands are investing in it, and they are putting the money where their mouth is because they have to.
I think it's also the thing that first, I never went to motor shows. I mean, John is a long-time motor show visitor. I hadn't been to one before about 8 years ago, and when I went to one,
Loiterer.
I was a loiterer, but there were like 2 electric cars, and they announced, like the Nissan Leaf when that was announced, and then the whole of this massive, that was at like Frankfurt or one of the really big ones. It was all conventional fuel vehicles, and the last one I went to, which was LA, every now and then people would gather round the conventional vehicles because there were so few of them, because everything was electric. This is all stuff that's coming out in the next few years, including, I mean, the Bollinger, which is like a Land Rover Defender, pure electric. It's just a genius design.
A great bit of innovation.
I mean, that's a bit of an exceptional, unusual vehicle, but, you know,
but it's a halo vehicle.
It's a halo vehicle, yeah. But and all those companies that launch cars like that have 12,000, 14,000, 20,000 orders before they've only built one. So there's a lot of demand for it.
Yeah. It's a really exciting time, actually, I think. I think if you're willing to accept change and maybe a sort of slight educational shift in terms of knowing that fuel stations aren't really your priority anymore if you drive an EV, you know, home charging becomes the norm. It doesn't take that much to shift it. Believe me, my wife is even more stubborn than me, and she has done the shift in a matter of 2 months. Now it's habitual. Come home, put the car on charge, go in the house, put your phone on charge. Done.